Hello and welcome back to the Animus Dog Training channel. Today is a bit of a different video. Rather than talking about specific training techniques, I wanted to address the recent decision to ban XL bully breeds in the United Kingdom. I'm going to discuss the reasons behind the ban, some of the shortfallings of this knee-jerk reaction, what the impact of the ban will be, and what you as an owner need to do if your dog falls into the XL bully category, and what the UK government should be doing to address the dog attacks in this country. Hey guys, just quickly while editing this video, I wanted to point out that this video is more read off a script than off the cuff like our videos normally are. I felt like I should script this video because there was a lot of important points regarding legislation that I wanted to make sure that I got right. So my apologies if the video did seem a bit scripted and my eye contact wasn't as on the camera as it normally is. After today's video, we will be going back to the normal kind of more casual chatty videos, but I just wanted to preface this video with this wee disclaimer. Thanks, enjoy watching. To start with, I have the most sincere empathy for anyone who has been a victim of a dog attack, whether by an XL bully or by another dog, anyone who has had family or friends impacted by these attacks. My thoughts here aren't dismissing the lived experience of people who are in support of the ban, but merely to outline my thought process as someone who has worked with many XL bullies and someone who has worked with many of the dogs currently banned under the Dangerous Dogs Act within the United Kingdom. So if you haven't already seen the video, Rishi Sunak, the UK Prime Minister, recently said the following.
The American XL bully dog is a danger to our communities, particularly our children. I share the nation's horror at the recent videos we've all seen. Yesterday we saw another suspected XL bully dog attack, which has tragically led to a fatality. It's clear this is not about a handful of badly trained dogs, it's a pattern of behaviour and it cannot go on. While owners already have a responsibility to keep their dogs under control, I want to reassure people that we are urgently working on ways to stop these attacks and protect the public. Today I have tasked ministers to bring together police and experts to firstly define the breed of dog behind these attacks with a view to then outlawing it. It is not currently a breed defined in law, so this vital first step must happen fast. We will then ban the breed under the Dangerous Dogs Act, and new laws will be in place by the end of the year. These dogs are dangerous. I want to reassure the public that we will take all necessary steps to keep people safe.
Now, why the push to ban? Over the last few weeks, there have been a number of videos surfacing of suspected XL bullies attacking people in public, including a child. Obviously, the government is being called to act on this and are taking the steps they feel will help the situation. But what exactly is an XL bully? An XL bully isn't actually a recognised breed within the UK. They're a type of dog which have no specific DNA markers, which will make banning them outright very difficult. The government is likely to set standards in measurements and size, and any dog suspected of being a banned breed will be tested, and if they fit the criteria, will either be destroyed or begin the arduous, costly legal battle to get on the exempted list. This does unfortunately mean that there will be a lot of dogs who have not posed a danger to anyone who will be destroyed. Whenever I worked for one of the larger dog rescues within the United Kingdom, we would have the dog warden come in and search through our kennels on a regular basis to pick out any dogs they suspected of being pit bulls, another banned breed within the UK. These dogs would not always be pure pit bulls, but bull breed crosses who unfortunately looked larger than the average staffy and would be victims due to their colour and size. This unfortunately meant having to euthanise a number of dogs with no behavioural problems, and sometimes even having to euthanise puppies. Now, some people will make the argument that it's all in how you raise them, and although there is an argument for this, it's not exactly accurate. Dogs have been bred for a very specific task and therefore have very different genetics. This does not inherently make a dog aggressive or a bad dog, but does mean certain dogs will have a higher prey drive and other breed characteristics. For example, according to the Merseyside Police, the dog breed with the most incidences of biting humans is the Jack Russell Terrier. This is a prime example of a dog being bred for a very specific task, in this case for ratting. that we try and force into a cozy lapdog lifestyle, then when its needs are not being met, they're full of anxiety and this can result in bite incidents. But we shouldn't just try and ban the Jack Russell, we should be educating owners. Another point people often throw out to argue against banned breeds is that I've seen more aggressive Chihuahuas than bullies. Now, although anecdotally as a canine behaviourist, I do often come across a lot more smaller dogs who are quicker to bite than large dogs, we do have to take into account the ability of the dog to do harm. As someone who has worked with everything from aggressive Westies to aggressive Turkish Kangles, I can tell you now that you would rather be attacked by a Westie than a large dog. So what should the government be doing instead? The problem as I see it isn't any particular breed. Yes, some breeds do have the capacity to cause more harm than others, but to look at it as these are bad dogs instead of taking into account the irresponsibility of the owners and the breeders of these dogs is missing the problem entirely. These dogs became mega profitable, especially during the COVID pandemic, and dogs could be seen being sold from $2,000 up to $10,000. With the cost of living crisis, we can understand someone's thought process in making a quick buck when breeding these animals. Buying in a few of the dogs and breeding them excessively for profit means that these breeders aren't worried about selecting the right temperament in breeding, often breeding aggressive traits further into the bloodline accidentally. They're also not overly concerned that the dogs are going to homes with experienced owners or people who are equipped to handle these animals, meaning that dogs with genetic predispositions for aggression are being handed out to members of the public on a mass scale who have little to no experience with large bully breeds or the skill set or knowledge needed to provide for these animals. The government needs to take a serious look at how we handle dogs and dog ownership within the UK. It should be much harder to breed dogs, and if we want the focus of breeding to be on healthy, well-rounded specimens, then we need to make breeding dogs unprofitable, so only true enthusiasts of the breed who want the best for the breed as a whole are breeding dogs and choosing the correct people for these dogs to go into homes with. In the rescue world, for example, there is a barrier to entry when you want to rescue a dog. You will be interviewed, your lifestyle taken into account, and then told whether a particular dog is suitable for you or not. Unfortunately, with a lot, not all, but with a lot of breeders, as long as you have the money, you can have the dog. Now, if I want to drive a car, I have to do a certain amount of hours on the road with an instructor. I have to sit a theoretical and a practical test to drive a car, and if I'm an irresponsible driver, I can lose my license or be sent for further education. Yet any 16-year-old with the money to spare can buy anything from an XL Bully to a Central Asian Shepherd with literally no barrier to entry. There is a dog license in Northern Ireland, but it's simply a £30 tax. As long as you have the money, you have a dog license. It's also very poorly enforced, and I've met more dog owners in Northern Ireland without a dog license than with one. If we properly enforce the dog license and use the money made to put in place mandatory dog training, a set amount of hours you had to do on education to ensure that you would be an adequate owner, we would see a dramatic reduction in irresponsible owners allowing their dogs to attack. Switzerland's government, for example, used to enforce mandatory dog training for potential new owners. Now, without infringing on anyone's God-given right to have whatever dog they want, there does need to be more education or restrictions on people buying whatever breed they want. If we educated our public more on dog ownership and what certain breeds entail, then we would have less people buying dogs which aren't suited to their lifestyle. Again, this is a very complicated solution to think through, but preventing 16-year-olds from having cane corsos, Central Asian Shepherds, XL Bullies, etc. might be a good start. The education also includes people without problematic breeds who let their dogs run about off lead up to anyone and everyone's dog. Your friendly dog isn't friendly, and running up to every dog can make walking a reactive dog or a dog with a particular temperament very difficult to walk. If something as simple as keeping your dog on the lead when it doesn't have recall is something that we struggle with as owners in the UK, then we'll never get on top of the dog problems we have with such an overarching under-education on dogs, dog ownership, dog behaviour and dog training. So what should you be doing if you have an XL Bully or you think your dog might be typed as an XL Bully? First of all, do not panic. This is a fairly newly announced law and changes in law do take time. The government have suggested that the law will be in place by the end of the year. According to the .gov website, current XL Bully dog owners do not need to take any action at this stage. However, if XL Bully owners do not come forward during the transition period, they will be committing a criminal offence if they are subsequently found to be keeping one of these dogs. In the UK, there are currently 4 dogs which are banned under the Dangerous Dogs Act, not including the XL Bully. They are the Pit Bull Terrier, the Japanese Tosa, the Dogo Argentina, and the Fila Brasileiro. which is something I always pronounce wrong. If you're found to have one of these banned dogs while out in public, the police do have a right to seize your dog. If the dog is on private property, the police would need a warrant to seize your dog, but if they've accessed your property through a warrant not relating to the dog, they are within their rights to seize the dog if it's found during a search and suspected of being a banned breed. The police have a right to take your dog even if it has not been acting dangerously and even without a complaint from the general public. If your dog is seized, you can get your dog onto an exemption list. This is where the police will have seized the dog, have a behaviourist assess the dog and determine whether it poses a danger to public safety. If it is deemed a problematic dog, it will be euthanized. However, if exempted, you would be allowed your dog back, but it would have to be muzzled and on a lead at all times when out in public. It must also be neutered, microchipped and kept in a secure place so that it cannot escape. As well as that, you must take out third-party liability cover on your dog and show the certificate of exemption when asked by the police. This is likely what's going to follow with the XL bullies. We will likely follow what we have in place for the banned breeds within the UK already. During the time your dog has been seized and is being assessed, you're not allowed to visit your dog. Unfortunately, most dogs, when taken from their home by strangers and thrown into a kennel without adequate and bespoke care, often do not show their best side. As someone who has worked in rescue for a number of years, I can tell you the amount of dogs we thought might have been problematic within their first few days but turned out to be absolute angels is unimaginable. It's a scary situation for a dog to be in and they will act accordingly when they don't feel safe. If you have an XL bully, there's a few steps I would start to take very, very seriously. Firstly, keep up to date with the news. Listen out for this transition period and any steps you may need to take. If your dog is not already, then you should get them neutered and microchipped as soon as possible. Start looking into third-party liability insurance for your dog as well and take training very seriously. This unfortunately can be a life and death situation for your dog and your dog is going to be held to a higher standard of training than dogs not on the banned list. This means you want to make sure your dog is walking nice and loose on the lead, is sociable around other dogs, doesn't bark at people or dogs and is a role model for the breed. I would also start working on muzzle association straight away so that when the day comes and your dog has to wear a muzzle, it's not something that they're afraid of. We're going to have a bunch of muzzle association videos up in due course on the channel to help with that. As well as that, you want to ensure your dog has some basic solid obedience in place. Their sit, their stay, their down, relaxing in public, relaxing around dogs, people, wildlife. Neutrality here is key. If your dog is showing any behaviour problems, I would definitely get the help of a behaviourist to help you get on top of that. From now until the end of the year 2023, when the ban comes into effect, we at Animus will be offering a 10% discount on all of our packages, including our online sessions for anyone who has a suspected XL bully and wants to get on top of some issues. Just quote YouTube bully when booking your package. Lastly, stay educated. Keep yourself informed on current breed specific legislation and sign up to newsletters, join Facebook groups around the topic. There's so many good ones on Facebook. I'll fire some links into the description below. Lobby your government, write to your representatives. Let them know that you take dog attacks very seriously, but you don't think demonizing an entire breed is the right approach because banning things does not work. A dog should be judged on the deed, not the breed. I will have a template letter in the link below you can use to send to your local MP. However, personalize the letter if possible because MPs will often filter out identical letters. Join other campaigns and help keep the pressure on for common sense dog laws within the UK. Or in 10 years, when irresponsible, trendy dog owners and profit-driven breeders have moved on to another breed, we will see this problem reoccur time and time again with dogs that should not be demonized just because of the way they look. Thanks again for watching. Feel free to comment with any concerns or questions. If you have an XL bully and you're worried, do get in contact with us. If you have an XL bully and it's an absolute exemplar for the breed, do let us know in the story below so we can break the stigma about these great dogs.